This video was made by Taoping Airlines Math Industry. We hope you enjoy this video and have a wonderful learning experience. Hey, Taoping Airlines Math Industry, and this is part 2 of parallel and transverse lines. So from the last video, we were talking about parallel lines. And to remind you what parallel lines are, they are lines that never touch each other. For this, for example, so with SpongeBob and Patrick riding a subway, the two train doors were examples of parallel lines because they are lines that never touch each other. If we add another line called a transverse line is a line that cuts through across parallel lines. So we can remember that by thinking of this.
Presents the difference between getting you where you're going.
Leading the way, TWA. So a transverse line is a line that cuts through parallel lines. And TWA, Trans World Airlines, is an example because they're an airline that flies across the world. So that's an example. But in this video, we're going to have a sample problem. So this is the sample problem. 4x plus 50 and 2x plus 10. So we're going to understand that this is a supplementary angle because these two lines are going to add up to 180 degrees. So in order to do that, we're going to have to turn this into an equation. So 4x plus 50 plus 2x plus 10 equals 180. 180 represents the supplementary angle because 4x plus 50 represents this angle right here. And 2x plus 10 represents that small angle right there. So the two angles combined should be 180 degrees. We're going to try and find something what we can fill in for x. So, the two equations are going to be added to be 180 degrees. So in order to do this, we're going to have to simplify. So the first step is to combine like terms. 4x and 2x is going to be 6x. Because they are the same and they look alike. We can't add like 50 and 10. Because that would be the same thing as adding apples and oranges. So 50 plus 10, that would be 60. So 6x plus 60 equals 180. So we have to minus this by 60 and try to get the x alone. So if you minus 180 by 60, because positive turns into negative and vice versa, 180 minus 60 is going to equal 120. So 6x equals 120. We divide both sides by 6. We're going to get an answer of 20. X equals 20. So will that work in the plugins for here? We're going to try and plug in 20 for both equations. 4 times 20 is 80, plus 50 is 130. And 2 times 20 is 40, plus 10, that is 50. 130 plus 50 equals 180. So yes, 20 would work for x, and that's what makes these equations true. So this is the last example, 2x minus 30 and x plus 20. Since these two angles are the same, we're going to have an equal sign right here. Have the two equations right next to each other. What is x? We're going to have to simplify. The the equal sign represents the two angles being the same thing, the same thing with each other. So, to get x alone, we're going to have to minus this by x, minus that by x, so we get 1x. So, equals negative 30 plus 20. So, we have to put that 30 to 20 right here, because we want the variable on one side and the number on the other. So, why don't we add that by 30? We add 30 up here, we get 50. So, x equals 50. Will that work here? 50 times 2 is 100 minus 30, that's 70. And 50 plus 20, that is going to equal 70. So these are going to work because these two angles are the same thing. That is another scenario. Going back to the parallel lines and transversal lines, here's another example of a parallel line. So right here is Terrence Tao, and he's using two blackboards to solve a math equation. And the reason why these blackboards are parallel lines is because the white lines on the bottoms are not touching each other. So parallel lines don't touch each other. So this is an example. Terrence Tao is one of the greatest mathematicians in the world. And he has a high IQ over 200. So with this math professor, there is the parallel line right here, but something about the top blackboard is going to happen with this one.
Und das löse ich jetzt nach Beta auf. Okay, es ist wow.
Luckily, he was saved by the falling blackboard. So the two falling blackboards were parallel, but when they slammed into each other, they're touching, so they're no longer parallel. That is the end of part 2 of parallel and transverse lines. Thank you for watching Taoping Airlines Math Industry. Like and subscribe. Taoping Airlines Math Industry, mission out.